Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of The Stone Genius. It's Ro, I'm the Stone Genius. You know me, I'm always stoned. Nope, I take that back. I'm often stoned, always a genius. Although, spoiler alert, I'm stoned right now. So, hey, this is a huge show for me personally. It's the first time that I've done this type of interview where I watched a movie and then I'm really excited about who I get to talk to about this movie tonight. So and I know I said tonight for all of you like that want to come back and point out that you don't always listen to it at night. I get it. Whenever you're listening to it, welcome. So, and for everyone else, I'm going to welcome to the show Timmy Lightell. Lightell, is the producer, writer, and director of the surreal-art comedy Manbaby, which is currently streaming on Tubi TV, which is Tubi TV streaming service. Timmy, welcome to the show.
Hey, Ro, thank you for having me. I'm kind of a fan, actually. I was listening to I don't know when you did the last pod. You were talking about sex work with your friend Alex,
Yes.
I think, and I was really, this is a great show. I'm really excited to be on. Thank you so much for having me.
And I'm excited about having you on the show. I'm excited about not only talking to you about the movie that you made, because I'll tell you that it's something it's grown on me, and I don't know if even that's the right term. So I watched it about 6 days ago.
Okay. You watched it on Tubi.
I did.
Where it's streaming for free for everyone with commercial breaks.
Yes, it is, which is great. So if you don't know Tubi TV, it's a streaming service. So let me ask you first, how do you get on a streaming service like that? When you have a movie...
That is a great question. So I work through a distributor called Film Hub, which works specifically with indie filmmakers. And really anyone... anyone can create a Film Hub account if they've got a movie, and Film Hub will actually submit your film to platforms. They submit to Netflix, they submit it all over the place. And those platforms are looking for content, and they pick the content they want. And so Tubi and Amazon and a smaller, lesser-known new platform called Mometu, Mometu, all picked up Manbaby, and so it was pretty cool how technology has made things pretty accessible to the little guys.
So, in to jump back, and I know we haven't even touched on the movie yet, and we're kind of about getting it released, but did you have an anticipation? Did you know that one of these platforms would pick it up? Did you just have that confidence? Was it a guarantee?
There's no guarantees in making movies, for sure. I mean, that's one thing I've learned. I've been making movies since I was a little kid, and you never know. You never know what's going to happen. The plan for Manbaby, though, from script to screen, has always been to be a commercial project and a commercial product. So, we talked about it. You kind of called it an art film, and I think that's true. But it was always supposed to be an art film that had an audience.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's not always the case with art films. And before we started recording, we were talking, and when you kind of gave me the intro and you mentioned art comedy, I mentioned to you that the filmmaking seemed to have a very familiar style to me, but I couldn't place it. And I used to, and I'm 55, so this would have been probably in my 18 to 20-year-old, so a long time ago. But I used to go to the Fine Art Theater and something, and just something about the way maybe it's an independent film or what was shot. But as soon as I saw that, when you replied to me and it said art comedy, I'm like, that is what I'm familiar with. That's that feeling that feels familiar in that, because I knew there was something I couldn't pinpoint it.
That's such a feather in my cap to hear, Ro, because a movie called Manbaby, and people see the poster and they watch the trailer and they think it's kind of just all a big gross out joke. It's Will Ferrell, but some Adam Sandler kind of thing. But we're really going for something about ideas, about big ideas, about being a parent, not being a parent, kind of existential questions that
Right.
we all kind of go through. Can I ask you, what were some of the movies back then that you felt the similarity to, at least in the visuals,
And I
because
can't remember the names of them, but here
uh-huh.
in Kansas City, where I grew up, there was the Fine Arts Theater, which was on Johnson
Mhm.
Drive in like Shawnee, Kansas, and we would go down there, and but it was just something about the way they were shot, or the way it just felt. And I told my wife while I was watching your movie, I was like, "There's something familiar about the way this is shot," and I couldn't pinpoint it. And
Yeah,
that's
that's
why
interesting.
and that's why I just felt like when you said art comedy, because it does feel like something I would see at an art house, maybe as opposed to seeing like at an AMC theater here in Kansas City,
Sure,
which I
sure.
would
Well,
be comfortable seeing it there, but it just gave me kind of a little bit more of that vibe. And I don't know of the way that it was shot, because I think it was some of the camera angles and things that did it for me.
sure. Well, it's a very low budget movie, and I think that affects, and I think probably those films that you watched years ago were probably pretty low budget
Right.
too, and so that, the budget on a movie, affects what you can and cannot do, from a purely technological standpoint. Now with digital cameras, though, that's a little bit of a game changer. So we did shoot Manbaby digitally. We didn't shoot it on film.
Okay.
But we did little digital tricks to try to up the grain, to try to kind of have a look of an older 80s exploitation movie.
Right.
Some of the movies that really inspired me, to make this movie, were the movies on USA Up All Night. I don't know if you remember Gilbert Gottfried, Ron DeShear. They had a late night USA Network.
Yeah.
They'd show old
Yes.
Cannon movies, old Trauma movies. So that was a huge inspiration to me for the lead in, and of course those movies aren't art movies. They're just kind of
Right.
low budget exploitation movies. And so that was kind of the entry point, is like I wanted to kind of look like that, but then I want to kind of tell a story that's real out of the box, and not like that at all, actually. Kind of, mixing high culture and low culture, essentially, which I know kind of sounds a little goofy and pretentious, but that's exactly what I was trying to do. I was really trying to, take an exploitation kind of theme and put some big ideas into it.
And
And so, yeah.
I got that. And the thing that I also enjoyed was, and maybe it was because you can tell it's not a mega $1 million budget on there.
Mhm.
Um,
Oh yeah.
but when I was watching that, I did like, because sometimes you think like, well, maybe the storytelling won't be as good. Maybe there'll be plot holes and things. So I actually wrote down, one of my first notes was, I like the way the tattoo was addressed at the goldfish's death. Which is funny because
Nice. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
main character has his real name tattooed in huge letters on his arm. And so
He does.
but he doesn't go by that name in the movie. And so I was trying to
No.
figure out, how the fuck are they going to tie this together? And yet there you did it. So it was great. But that was
Yeah.
one of my very first notes, because, that could have been something that you guys could have just never even addressed, and no one would have maybe even thought about it. But
Sure,
it was
sure, maybe.
it was kind of cool that, I was, because I was like, how are they going to address that? And then I was like, oh, they did it. That's actually very nice. I like that.
Yeah.
I had resolution in that story, so that was great.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
That's his. That is his Baba. That's a big part of the character psychology, for sure.
And there's our dog giving her
Got
2
your
cents
pupper.
worth. Yeah. So she likes to always join the show whenever she wants. I will tell you, so I was wondering, as a stoner, at what point I was like, will there be any stoner issues, that I can tie into this? And I will say that Circe, I
Yeah.
very much enjoyed that she was a stoner and a witch. So it was like, I felt
Yeah.
like it was a 2-for-1 with her in this.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah. I want to ask you a question
Sure.
about that. I feel like I've heard mixed messaging about her giant bong. Did that work for you? Is that practical?
I will say that, me personally, I have never used anything of that size, but I don't see.
Okay.
I mean, to me, that'd be like hyperbole, but
Yeah.
but I think it fit the theme of what was going on at that time. So
Didn't take you out of it.
no, it
Yeah.
didn't. As a stoner, I
Okay.
wasn't like, oh, what is that? I mean, because I get and my wife will point this out. I get stuck on the littlest things, like, oh, well, that
Right.
person shouldn't have entered that room with his gun drawn like that, or something stupid.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I did
Yeah.
not get hung up on that in the slightest. So now I'm actually
Yeah.
going to have to go back. The next time I watch the movie, I will probably be hung up on that. So thank you very much. I appreciate that. So
Yeah. 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 The pot connections in Manbaby they're pretty. It's a pretty consistent thing. I wouldn't call this a stoner movie by any means,
right.
but I used to smoke a lot of pot in graduate school, and but I stopped actually because I had a real bad experience with marijuana in my late 20s where I drank a lot of coffee,
Uh-huh.
and I had one of those famous freakouts, and it was because it was not because pot's bad. Pot is good for you. Very much support it. It should be legal everywhere. It should, blah blah blah. But I don't do it because I had that freak out because I had too much caffeine.
And
Big
that,
digression.
I was just going to
but
say that's what
yeah,
every once in a while I hear that. Like the very first
yeah.
night, and I'm 55. I didn't try it till I was 47. And the very
Oh wow,
first
okay.
night I tried it, there was,
Uh-huh.
so we were with another couple. My wife had tried it, and this other couple, the husband had tried it, but the wife hadn't. And we were with different bud tenders. We got different products. We got different instructions. I followed my instructions. I didn't hear their instructions, so I won't. But they did this. That person freaked out and will never try it again. And I became a fervent and ardent believer in the medicinal properties because I honestly didn't
Yeah.
think there were medicinal properties before then. So I totally understand that.
Yeah, there are medicinal properties for sure. Do you think that person had caffeine that day? I think it's caffeine is a powerful drug. So I'm off all drugs right now. I don't do caffeine. I don't do pot. I don't drink wine. I try to limit my sugar. But when we were on set, the cast. Hopefully, I'm not speaking too much out of turn here. But the cast definitely partook when we were shooting scenes, and I think that's kind of very obvious in some of the shots where you can see
It may
their
have been
dilated
maybe
pupils.
Dr. Mike. I'm just kidding. I love that character.
I'm
So
glad you liked him. He's hilarious. He's so
he
good.
was so over.
Tom Stewart.
I wouldn't say that he was over the top, but I was like sometimes I think when I'm watching a movie, if I was in this movie, who would I be? I would there would be no way I would be anyone other than Dr. Mike. Now, my wife may disagree and say that I am a man baby, but I'm going to say 100% I would be, if there's a Man Baby 2 Electric Boogaloo or something like that down the line, and Dr. Mike's not available, Dr. Rowe will be in the house. I just want you to know that.
Doctor in the house.
Yeah.
Oh, there is a script, Son of Manbaby.
Is there really?
I don't think there is a script, but I don't think we're going to produce it. I think we're moving on to something else for the next passion project.
Now
there is a script.
Now let me ask you this: you said that this was a commercial project for you. It had always been intended. Is that correct?
Yes, passion and commercial.
Okay.
It's two sides of the same coin for this one.
So do you have other movies that you have released previously to Manbaby?
I do. So before Manbaby, I was making a lot of art film, like real art film. I wouldn't even call it art film. It's more experimental. So I had a pretty big web project called The Fate of Wizards. And a lot of the stuff I was doing, Fate of Wizards specifically, I did it anonymously. I did it, not under my name, Tim Lightell.
Why did you do it anonymously?
I feel like there's something kind of pure about that.
Okay.
I wasn't trying to. I didn't want to be identified as I was making a statement. It's the pure art of it, and we'll see who finds it on YouTube, and people sure did. Grandpa Character had a pretty nice but small fan base,
Right.
and but it's not made to make money. It's anonymous. It's on YouTube. It's not. We're not selling commercials. That kind of thing. But yeah. So yeah. I made two other features actually. About 10 years ago. Also kind of experimental features almost. Not the most narrative kind of things. Those were under my name. Those you can find if you look up my IMDb. But Manbaby is my first, like, kind of, I was trying to make a Hollywood movie with the tools that I had available, if that makes sense.
It does. So let me ask you this. So Manbaby, where did you come up with? So I will tell you, watching the trailer and then watching the movie, it's different. I didn't expect in the movie what eventually happened and everything. That's not what I got from the trailer. I mean, a lot of trailers you can go, okay, we have point A, we have point Z, and I kind of see what's in the middle. That's what I go to watch and figure out. In this, the trailer, while it gave me a lot of pertinent information, it's still, when I watched the movie, I was still surprised at a couple of the directions, because it took a couple of turns that I wasn't expecting. And
that's awesome.
And that was nice, surprising. And so after watching the trailer, I was like, I don't know what to expect from this. I mean, right. I really didn't. And then when I watched it, and the further I get away from watching it, so it's been 6 days now since I watched it, I find more of an appreciation for it. Not that I didn't have a certain appreciation for it when it was made. I mean, when I watched it, but I feel like more of it, I'm kind of digesting it. Maybe that was the state of my mind while watching it. So now that I get those moments.
Were you stoned while
Yes,
watching
I
it?
was. Yes, I was very stoned while watching it.
We just got a letterbox review. Somebody letterbox reviewed, do not browse Tubi while stoned. 2 stars.
Yeah.
2 stars, which I thought was cool, because he also, that same reviewer, gave Amsterdam, the David O. Russell film that came out this year. He gave that 2 stars too.
Right.
So I was like, hey, up there with Hollywood.
There you go.
But like, I think that's intended. I think, my favorite movies, I like to watch my favorite movies over and over again, as opposed to like watching tons of new movies. I feel like, and I feel like a lot of people are kind of like that. Like you watch a movie, you watch your favorites,
right.
Maybe once a year, maybe even twice a year, you go back to them. And I feel like good movies that we like, that's what we do. We go back to them. That's why sequels are a thing, in my opinion. You don't really care to see the story continue like a TV show. A good sequel is trying to relive that first movie,
Right.
And so maybe that's what you're experiencing. If you kind of like it, you want to kind of watch it again, and then when you watch it again, you're going to see things that you didn't see the first time, and you're going to kind of get new perspectives, and so that's definitely a feather in my cap to hear.
And I will tell you,
time has passed, you've been thinking about it.
So when I first started watching it, I was like, well, if I get distracted, I'm doing other stuff. It's on I was figuring it's going to be on in the background, but it was funny. I was pissed. I went to the kitchen to get something to drink, and it was right when, and I can't remember the character's name, but came and kidnapped Sal from Circe. And wrapped her up with like not Saran's wrap, but I don't know what it's called.
Packing stuff. Packing Saran wrap.
Yeah, packing Saran. And it was funny because I was so mad. I walked in the kitchen to get a drink. I came back and I'm like, no, how did she get? And so I had to rewind. I'm like, how did she get? I don't know what just happened here. So I was pleasantly surprised, because I just didn't know what to expect. And that was kind of the cool thing too, is, and hold on. I just noticed a question I wrote sideways, and you may be able to answer this. Does Sal have a tramp stamp? Do you know? I could have sworn in one of the scenes, sticking out the top of his diaper in the back, I noticed a tramp stamp on Manbaby Sal.
Well, I don't think he does because I
Okay.
think there is I think there is a shot of his full bare back and
Okay.
ass and everything.
I could have
There is
sworn
a
I
shot
saw
and there's
that, but like
nothing
I
there.
said, I was
Yeah.
stoned. So yeah.
Well, and that is one of the things that a lot of people online have kind of read us for, kind of, a little critique is the quality of the diapers. So, you know, our my original idea for finding an audience for this movie was, the fetish audience.
Right.
This is the origin of the idea. I worked in adult entertainment. That's why when I was listening to your pod, you guys were talking about OnlyFans and
Right.
sex work and different things. That was very intriguing to me. I was in that industry for tangentially in that industry when I was writing this movie. So this is going on 10 years ago now.
Okay.
Was working on different adult entertainment projects, and this is a pretty common story I've told on a lot of podcasts now. The biggest sellers in that industry were the ABDL diaper fetish type contents,
Really?
mommies and diapering and stuff. That was at least for the niche where I was working. Okay.
Okay.
I'm not sure if that's true industry wide. I'm just saying for where I was, and it was the most. It seemed psychologically the most interesting to me too.
Okay.
And so I said, I know that if I make a movie like that, I know people are going to buy it.
Right.
Because when you made a fetish clip about diapers, you had a core audience that always bought it. So commercially, I thought this made sense. Artistically, I thought it made sense, and that was kind of the origins of the script, And so now, when the people who are into this kink watch it, a lot of them are kind of put off. Not because we're making fun of them, which is some of them, when they saw the trailer, some of those, we got some kind of nasty gram comments that thought we were making fun of them.
Right.
But now, when people watch it, they're not into it because it just doesn't. It's not kinky. It's not a fetish movie. It's an art movie. It deals with these big questions about existence, and so they're not getting everything they want.
So at first
And
they thought it portrayed him in a wrong light, and then it didn't
mhm,
portray him in a good enough light.
I think at first they thought it was a negative light, and then I think it wasn't sexual enough for them. That was kind of a big debate, I had with my editor and I. We kind of, is this a movie? Why would a diaper fetishist like this movie if there's no sex? And I said, well, the fetish isn't about sex; it's about being diapered. So they're gonna like this.
Right.
But I think maybe I was wrong. I think maybe there isn't enough sex in it. I don't know, but yeah, they have not embraced it. The diaper community has not embraced this movie. I think one of their big complaints is also just props. I think they wanted, and we had a small budget, so we didn't get big, nice, poofy diapers is what I
Right.
hear. They wanted poofier diapers, and so yeah. So when you talk about that, maybe you saw the tramp stamp. It might just be because the diaper is just a low quality diaper.
Well, I mean,
And
and that's so. Someone had asked me prior to me viewing the movie whether I thought they go, "Do you think that it could be propaganda for the diaper community?" Now, I will tell you,
interesting.
I was like, "Is that a big thing?" And they looked at me like I didn't have an IQ of 136. The way they looked at me like I was
Huh.
some idiot, because they're like, "Yeah, that's a huge community." I was like, "Okay, I did not know that." I go, "I've been off the market for 27."
Propaganda.
Yeah, so but I will say to that point as well, when you were mentioning how they didn't think there was enough, it wasn't sexualized enough or whatever.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
did think that this movie at some point could have gone in many different directions. Like one of them, I did
Hmm.
think, I was like, this could be much more sexual, almost like pornographic if they wanted it to be. Because
Yeah.
and this is how high I was. I'm just gonna tell you, I was so high, I wrote the last word as SEEN, but I was like, I'm hoping for a nursing scene. So that obviously I spelled it incorrectly. That's how
Ah,
high I was.
uh-huh.
But I mean, so at one point I was like, man, I'm hoping I'm going to get to see this guy nursing, I guess, at some point.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
there
yeah.
was,
And you didn't
no,
get that,
I did not
and
get to see
neither did
that.
the baby lovers. Yeah.
No, but there was one of the other directions later in the movie is I was like, this is almost like a married version of Misery, the movie Misery,
Ah,
where she was
yes,
keeping
yes.
him, for her own whatever she wanted to be keeping him as. I saw kind of a correlation between a certain part of your movie and the movie Misery, how they were kind of in the
Yeah,
same
definitely.
same boat, which I thought was interesting because
Yeah.
watching the trailer, if someone would have been like, so let me know at the end how you can tie that into the movie Misery with James Caan, I'd be like, I'm sorry, you say what? I mean, I just wouldn't have,
Right, right.
I wouldn't have thought that. So, and that's what's surprising about this movie. And that's what I've always loved about indie movies. And when I used to go to the theater, I mean, before I met my wife, after I met my wife, and we had children, like once they were asleep, I would go like to the last showing so I could see movies. I loved going and watching movies, and I really enjoy it because sometimes you get those surprises on an indie movie, and even if it's just a fleeting surprise in that movie, it's still something that's neat because of the way that it was presented in the format. It's not a multi-million dollar, Michael
Yeah,
Bay, everything's blowing up, the planet's going to hell in a handbasket type thing. So I was very
yeah,
surprised with
yeah.
many things. And that was one of the things because that was the note. I was like, this is a married version of Misery at one point.
Well, I love that. I love that. Misery was not, definitely not a direct inspiration in any way, but I totally see that because
Right,
it's power relations, right? It's the one person's got the power, one person doesn't, and then that switches, and then it
right.
switches again. It's very good stuff for drama for sure. Um, you know, I we're taking that. I'm taking that in Manbaby and kind of putting this ridiculous high concept to changing into a baby.
Right.
And I think yeah, I mean I'm very honored by your words. I think very very grateful you watched it, because a lot of people see the trailer and they tune right out. But I think overall, even people who don't like this movie, um, kind of like what you're saying, they're always surprised by it. They're always kind of like, oh, I didn't see that coming. I didn't see
Right.
that coming, because there are lots of twists, there's lots of turns. But even I, I'm going to go this far and say this: even when people kind of see the twists and turns, because some people have kind of they kind of know it's maybe by the middle that this is okay. This is going to be about power dynamics, not necessarily about diaper fetishes. It's about
Right.
power dynamics. They know that. Even they are kind of just surprised by different things that they didn't think that they would enjoy or see coming in this movie. So
Yeah, and
yeah.
so here's the way that I view movies, and this is kind of odd. This goes back to the original Raiders of the Lost Ark, and I think I was 13 when it came out. And for whatever reason, so I think it came out in 81. So you have to
Yeah,
remember
that sounds about right.
when those came out, the only way that you saw them was either the commercial, and that was with a voiceover. Indiana Jones goes to Egypt, that type of stuff. So it wasn't
Yeah,
the it
yeah.
wasn't the type of trailers that you have now. There's literally someone telling you what the trailer you're watching, what it had to do with. And for
Hmm.
whatever reason, I did not want to see that movie. Whether it was because it was about archaeology, I have no idea. But I remember I did not want to see that movie. And because it's so big, my parents wanted to take me and my sister. And so
Uh-huh.
I finally went and saw it, and it became instantly my favorite movie of all time. And so
Ah, okay.
because of that, because I was judging something that I knew very little about. I had seen a trailer
Right.
with a voiceover. I had seen walking out of the theater, the big thing. I love looking at movie posters. That's one thing I really miss is movie posters.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so,
Movie posters.
for whatever reason, I didn't want to see the movie, but when I saw it, I couldn't stop seeing it. I mean, I think I probably saw it maybe 10 to 15 times the first month it was out after I'd seen it. And so that's
Uh-huh.
why I think it's so important that you don't have to go out and see everything, but if there's something that interests you, and
Yeah.
I'm going to be 100% honest with you that when I watched the trailer, I was like, how am I going to watch this movie?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm glad that I did, because
You gave it a shot. You
I
gave it a shot.
I
You gave it
did,
a
and
toss.
the movie is different than the trailer.
Hmm.
It is much more there. Of course, there's much more story to it, but there's just more. It's different, and I
Yeah. Well, I
appreciated
appreciate
that,
that.
and I'm glad that I gave it. And I hope that other people do give it the chance too. I won't say that it's going to win an Academy Award, but I'm also going to say that it's grown on me. I mean, because I can see the effort that you put into it, and then I start to when I start thinking about there's a lot going on. I mean, if you're
Yeah.
not into the diaper community, there is a lot to process.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's fantastic to hear. And you know, I know that it's not going to win an Academy Award as well, but I kind of in my deep darkest part of my brain and heart, I was like, well, but I could hold out for that script award maybe,
Right.
because I do think it's a really good script. It's a really professionally written, uh, and it's really well acted too. But I am very, very proud of that script. Now, from script to screen, it's a mess. I mean, I've made a lot of movies, and translating your vision into the real world can be a real struggle. And so, yeah,
How do you
I understand
anticipate
that.
that? I mean, if you know that's going to be a struggle going into it, what do you
Yeah.
put in place to help address that, knowing that it's going to be a struggle? Is there anything that you can do, or do you just have to, when I get to that point, I'll deal with it at that point?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of that. It's a little bit of when we get to that point, we'll deal with it. It's also, in the writing, there's a lot of rewriting. So kind of like you mentioned the tattoo and the fish,
Right.
it's like writing for the actors. So it's like I had a pretty good script, and then I had to find some actors and make it a even better script. And then with the actors, we make it even better, and we keep writing and rewriting and editing and re-editing and then at a certain point the rubber has to meet the road. You have to actually start shooting,
Right.
um, and yeah, then you just have to deal with what you've got.
Now, let me
But
ask
yeah, I
you
mean, I think
this: just
yeah,
jumping over the whole how you select actors, but once you've selected the actors that you are correct and that you're going to stick with for the characters in your movie, how much can that affect your script? Because you're the writer of the script as well. So how much, if you pick a person
yeah.
like, I think this person's perfect, but maybe their tonality or something about them needs to be checked. How often does that happen? Or would you rather say, I wrote the script like this, I need someone that can play this person that I
Yeah,
wrote?
yeah, no, for me it's always the exact opposite. So it's always I'm writing for the people in mind. So I had I wrote Sal and Dana. I wrote these characters, and I kind of had to find people who were close enough. And Dr. Michael Carmichael. I found someone who I had an idea of him in the script, and then when I met Tom, when I met Asa, um, then I rewrote the script for them, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
So
it
so
does.
there's a story there, but then the actors are the characters when I'm writing it,
Right.
and that's just rewriting, it's just rewriting, it's just doing it for them. Um, yeah, if I had to, write Michael Carmichael exactly that way, I don't think I would have. I mean, maybe I would have had I met Tom, but you know what I mean. It's kind of a chicken or an egg thing, I guess.
Right.
But yeah, like it's written with the actors in mind. It's knowing what they can do, um, and what they bring to it, which is a lot of it. I mean, 90% of it.
Right. Yeah, and I
is so
mean,
much
like I
just
say,
them.
and that's why I wondered, because so Dr. Mike isn't in it a ton. I mean, he I guess he's in it. The closest thing I could think of to Dr. Mike was the character that Steve Martin played in Little Shop of Horrors when he was the dentist.
Oh wow,
It was that
that's
type of
great.
character that was almost not over the top, but just so loud and so like, here I am, like, because
Sure.
when he has his shirt off and he's doing all his muscle poses, I'm like,
Yeah.
as a guy, I've been like, I've done that. I've done that more than one time. So it just really, I mean, that's what, you find little things like that. And he really made me smile. Every time he was on the screen, I thought he was funny. And then the sex scenes with him, I was like, I feel like you may have had a camera in my bedroom at some point. So,
well,
so
he's a scene stealer for sure. He's a scene stealer, and I think he does what he does really well. He's a really
now where
great
did you
comic actor.
where did you shoot this movie? What location?
We shot in Seattle.
In Seattle.
So everything was shot in Seattle, Washington.
All the
some
actors
things a
from
little outside
Seattle?
of Seattle. Yeah, we're all a Seattle crew. A lot of us, some of us have moved away. It was an 8-year process. So
Right.
some people are still here, some people aren't. But yeah, everything in Seattle, completely local, completely independent of the Hollywood studio system as it exists, I guess.
And that's neat too. So now it came
Yeah.
out in August of 2022. Is that correct?
That is correct. We
Oh.
were in theaters. We had our big premiere here in Seattle, August 17th. And in October, we started streaming on Tubi.
That's
So
awesome.
October of last year, we started streaming. So
That is-
yeah.
Now, I for some reason I didn't write it down, but I have a star and then I wrote nice hospital name. Do you remember
Nice
that?
Oh, I do. Yeah, we have a little Simpsons joke. The Simpsons
Yeah.
and the Three Stooges love to do little funny names for hospitals and law offices, and so we did the same thing. I think it was called St. James the Dismembered.
Yes,
or
yes, the dismembered. That was it. Because
Peter the Dismembered.
I guess I didn't have enough time to write that down, but I just put a
Yeah.
star and I wrote nice hospital name on it. So yeah,
Nice. I'm glad you like that.
yeah.
I can't. I had another. I had a direct. The first one that I did a direct lift from the Three Stooges. The Three Stooges, their hospital where they were the. I don't know. Are you a Stooges fan? Are you a Stooges guy?
No, I mean, I'm familiar with them. I've probably seen a lot more stuff as a youngster than what I would like to admit with. Is that when they were like interns or something?
When they were
like-
doctors.
Doctors, yeah.
When they were doctors, they were at a hospital called Lost Arms was the name of their hospital.
Yeah.
And I wanted that to be the name of the hospital, but my editor was like, "Hey, can we have a reference in this movie that's not 7 years old?" So
And you're like,
So,
okay, I will.
okay.
So I will
I had to do
ask.
what I
So
had to do.
we have a huge following from the International High IQ Society. There are a lot of smarty McSmarty pants in there. So I need to ask this question: how accurate is the science in the movie Manbaby? The potions that are used. How much science went into that? Did you have,
At 0.0.
Okay, I didn't know if you had any sort of scientific or technical advisor on the stage with you or not. So, but okay.
Absolutely none. Absolutely none.
okay.
I one of my partners is a doctor, medical doctor, and they deal with hormones, and they did not advise at all on this particular project, and I have no knowledge whatsoever. The words are correct. So like aromatase bonding, I think Michael says at some point is a aromatase bonding. I think is a thing, but it just sounded cool. So
It may have nothing to do with any. And I
Yeah.
love that character.
It is a thing,
I'm
but
telling
yeah.
you that he was a favorite in that. I mean, like I said,
I'm glad you like that.
yeah, he was a lot of
Glad you
fun.
like that. Yeah, the science stuff is definitely closer to we're trying to do a mad science thing, and I think that comes across. I mean, I think the lab looks pretty mad sciencey.
It does.
Yeah.
And then
Did you ever? Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say in the mother-in-law, whoever the mother-in-law was, she So here's my note. Sal's mother-in-law reminds me of my mother-in-law. And then,
Wow. Wow.
I'm going to tell you this also. This is how high I was, but this is also how much I enjoyed Dr. Mike. So I put Sal's mother-in-law reminds me of my mother-in-law. Long story. But my next note was, I wouldn't be upset if my wife left me for Dr. Mike. So that's how big a fan I am of Dr. Mike that I was like, well, if Bobby, I would just be like, okay, touche. I get it, man. I lose.
Yeah.
So
you cuck for Dr. Mike.
Yeah.
Well. Yeah. Okay.
And I did think it was funny also that after the first sex scene with Dr. Mike, that the phrase "we should take things slow" is uttered, because generally I think that happens prior to the sex, but I do like how. So I'm assuming that was, I don't remember if it was that Dana or Dr. Mike that made that. Oops, spoiler alert. Which one made that comment? But it's sounding like a very dude thing to say after sex to say that.
Yeah. I think the way it goes is that he verbalizes it. He says, I respect that you want to take things slow.
Okay.
So he kind of puts it on her, because it actually is, it is Dana, Dr. Dana Howard. She doesn't want to have a relationship with Michael, but Michael does want to have a relationship with her, but she just wants kind of a booty call, as is
right.
referenced by the later scene there. She gets her booty call in. And,
and that's when
she's not really interested in him as a serious partner.
And that's when I became Team Sal, because I was like, Dana, it didn't take you very long to jump into the arms of another man. No matter how hunky I think Dr. Mike is, it did not take you long at all, young lady. Now, I don't know what this, I vaguely remember, I'm going to read you the exact note. So, and it's two parts. First part is what the actual fuck, and then it's followed with what is up with all the pickles.
That's a fun story.
Okay.
The pickle. So one of the producers on the movie, buddy of mine, makes his own pickles. Made his own pickles. And,
okay.
He would bring them on set. It's a low budget movie. We didn't have a lot of money for food, but we were trying to have everything catered all the time. But one of the things, cheap food. He makes his own pickles. He would bring pickles on set. And I got to tell you, these were the most delicious pickles that maybe I've ever had in my life.
You sound like the Vlasics man. These are the most delicious pickles I've ever had.
I mean, really, these are great homemade home pickled pickles, home pickled cucumbers, and they were always on set, and so it's actually not a scripted thing with Ray. It was just kind of a thing on set. I was like, she's into pickles. Let's have her be into pickles, since I'm into these pickles, and one thing led to another, and it became a thing that really I feel like everybody who watches this movie talks about the pickles. And talks about.
I'm so glad that it actually is a thing, because I vaguely remember the pickles. I mean, it's not like I remember them at least being a theme in there in multiple scenes. But when I reread this note, because it literally is WT actual fuck, and then it's what is with all the pickles ? So I'm glad that I didn't want you to go. There are no pickles in this movie. There are no pickles injured in the making of this movie, Ro. What were you thinking? So I'm glad that there was something to do with the pickles there. So
it was just to kind of take a bit character, or not a bit character, but kind of a tertiary character, and give them a clear kind of thing that make them recognizable. And
I did. I kept having that they had been transported from the movie Outsiders into your movie.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's a great reference. They were a greaser for sure.
They were. So I got to tell you, I did enjoy the movie. I do say that.
Nice.
I mean, I would tell people that are listening to this, don't even bother watching the trailer, because it
Skip the trailer.
It is so different than the movie. I mean, So let me also mention this. And if my wife was on the program, she would mention this as well. One of the things she hates about watching TV and movies with me is often I can recite the lines without knowing what it's just lazy writing. It's lazy. To me, it's a
Yeah,
and I get it. They have to go to the lowest common denominator, but that's not me. And so Bobby
sure.
will often get mad because I'll be like, oh, well, that person didn't take the bag, which is foreshadowing for this. And, I'm calling something that's going to happen an hour and a half later. And so she'll get frustrated. I will tell you this, I couldn't figure out what was going to happen next. I mean,
Wow.
yeah. So
Great.
that is good for me because the way that my mind and a lot of the people that are in the society, that's how our minds work. We're always trying to figure things out. So often sometimes when people that have an elevated IQ, it's not that that other people can't get to the same answer we can. It's just we get there a lot quicker than everyone else. And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
sometimes when I'm watching a movie, other people can do that, but it'll just take them a little bit to digest, and I don't know. And so that's what I did like about your movie is I didn't know what was happening. So
Yeah, that's great. That
yeah,
is really great.
because to me, when you know what's coming on, it's like I know this person's gonna get kidnapped next, and this is gonna
Hmm.
happen, and they left the window open, so they're gonna come in. And sometimes that can get tiring for not just me, but the person watching it with me. But I did not have that during your movie, and which is, I would say, a good thing, at least for me. And
That
in my
that is
opinion,
fantastic to
yeah,
hear. That is fantastic to hear. This script, going back to the script, this script is it's a beat for beat, Hollywood script. So it follows all the quote unquote rules, expectations, I guess, of a Hollywood script.
right,
But um, it still surprises people, and so I think that, and I don't exactly know why. I think it's just because we do some formal things that are a little different than a Hollywood movie might do.
right.
The extreme flash forward to the future, I think, is something that you wouldn't see in a typical romantic comedy or screwball
Yeah, I didn't
comedy.
expect that.
Um, right. And so, yeah, so I think what you're experiencing is probably just a little bit of a fluke, and it's a good fluke.
Now, when
It's
you
good
say,
news for me.
did you attend film school, or how did you learn the craft of making movies?
Yeah, I went to film school.
Okay,
I went to film for undergrad and for graduate school.
okay,
And so I had a lot of formal cinema studies education in
and
my life, and this movie is definitely a product of that too. Not to again sound too highfalutin about it, but it is a kind of a formal exercise in, like, okay, this is what a 3-act structure looks like. Now let's do something kind of kooky with that.
right, yeah. I mean, and
So
that's what's it comes through because you can it comes out as a professionally made movie. And that's, I
mhm.
mean, sometimes you think of indie movies and you think of them being less than professional, or some people that I've talked to do. This is not that at all. This is, and that's what I find so interesting because I can't. When you're writing a movie, I can't even fathom that. Now, I didn't go to school with that, and if you go to school, maybe they like give you secrets on how to write a script or something like that. But it's amazing that you're able to take an idea, turn it into a script, produce that so that you can get it made and then be able to direct. I mean, all of those are different hats that seem just so different, and what you have to do and your skill set is so varied in that. It's just kind of amazing what you were able to do yourself to get this movie out to streaming market.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate that, because that's very very true. There's just all kinds of different skills. I mean, I'm a better writer and a better editor, um, than I am trying to figure out where to put a camera, and that sort of thing. I mean, but I also,
Did you like that
have
challenge though?
to.
Then, if
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I like a challenge. I like to do things that are difficult, but at the same time, like I, I have strengths and I have weaknesses. As a human being
right,
and as an artist, and all those things kind of all come crashing together when like you said, when you're just wearing all these different hats. And you know uh, if I had more money, if I had, there's a lot of coulda, woulda, shouldas when it comes to art, but actually doing the thing, I think, is the only thing that really has value.
so
So
how are you during the writing, producing, making? So let me see if I can. I don't know how to exactly present this question. So my uncle, who's an artist, one of the things he almost never finishes a piece of art. And
mm,
my personal feeling is it's because he gets the because when he finishes, then it's done. And it's the
yeah,
process that he enjoys, the creativity, the picturing it in his mind and making that. He does like paper sculptures and things like that. So making that, and they're
yeah,
they're beautiful and they're intricate, but making that. But a lot of times, like his deadlines will pass and they'll pass because to me personally, I think he doesn't want to finish that because it means so much to him. And when you're writing the movie, I mean, does it ever get like that? I mean, you obviously
yeah,
have to
yeah.
finish to get it produced and to the screen, but I mean, that little tweaking, do you always feel like, oh, I can make this better? Or do you just want to, I want to write this and get it done, and the best part is making the movie and getting it out so people can see it?
No, I mean, I feel your uncle for sure. Like we talked about this all the time. It took 8 years to make this movie, so we talked about this all the time. In the 8 years, we're never gonna finish because it's just so much fun making it. Like
Right.
why, like, and maybe even subconsciously we're prolonging it because it's so much fun. Um, Also, I'm pretty picky. I'm kind of a perfectionist, and so like if I can do something better, I'm gonna try to do it better, and that's gonna take some time. So yeah, I totally feel that. Um, and the other side to that is that uh, you know, thinking about it and writing it doesn't make it real. And I think there is value in finishing things. There's value in putting it out there.
Right.
There's more value than keeping it inside. And so hopefully the next one won't take 8 years, but if it takes 8 years, then that's what it takes. But I am a person who's always going to be, creating, but not just creating, but creating and trying to find an audience and trying to, make a concrete statement that, okay, this is finished. Now
And,
I'm
and,
moving
and
on.
that was going to be my next question. So, when you finish something, are you ready to try to? Is your creative juices? Are you wanting to start on something else, whether it's another script or whatever it may be? Are you wanting your next challenge, your next whatever that may be? Or are you,
Yeah, of
or
course. I
after
mean,
doing that, are you like, let me just take a couple minutes and catch my breath?
no, I mean, during the 8 years we were making Manbaby, my company, Seattle Video Marketing, is making commercial content for clients on Facebook. And I produced a couple, well, not just a couple. I produced 3 or 4 different shorts with a filmmaker friend of mine who was also part of the Manbaby crew. So I'm pretty creative always, and I always want to be working on something. And the goal is not just to be working on stuff, but my end is to try to finish these things.
Right.
You know, during the production of Manbaby, the shorts that I had produced with Haley Park, who's the filmmaker here. We did, she finished those and had those in festivals, and we were finishing things while we were working on things, and we're now finishing Manbaby and now working on new things. Like I said, we've got the son of Manbaby, which I don't think is I don't think it's finished. I don't think that's ready for the world. But there's other things that are maybe a little bit closer to finish because I've had some time to work on them, and I'm excited about those. I don't have too many details for you, but yeah, there's new stuff always happening with me.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. I
Yeah.
mean, and I'm glad that you joined the program. I'm glad that, I mean, because it's so interesting to me. I always throw out these things. So here is my, and you can have this. And if you need any help with the script, if you decide to run with us, you're more than welcome to. So
Okay. All right.
my
What is
th-
this?
my plot for a movie would be it's a European assassin. So this is an action film. A European
Okay.
assassin who kills their targets by using bidets.
Fills them with bidets.
Yes.
Ah.
Yes. So
Okay.
they go in
Okay.
like, oh, I'm a plumber. Hey, I am just here. My name's Luigi. I'm just here to fix your plumbing. Yeah, your bidet. And then they put a bomb in the. No one's gonna look in the bidet for a bomb or a bullet or anything
true.
else. So
That's true.
and it's
True.
the one thing that I don't think has been used yet in the action.
What,
I do
what
think
was
there.
the what was the action movie? It was an action movie about he was an assassin, but he was like a contractor. Is this ringing any bells for you? Where he was like he was like a construction guy.
Um,
Is this totally? And
there.
and that was kind of the thing. Like he was really good at killing people, and what he would do is he would make these construction accidents, so it would look like a construction accident,
Oh,
right?
I think it was Jason Statham, the mechanic.
The mechanic, is that
Yeah,
what it was?
I think it was. Yeah, and like there's like the swimming pool hangs off the side of a building.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
and
right,
then
right,
the
yeah.
pool, the glass bottom breaks while he's in it or something. Yeah, I think that's Jason
Yeah,
Statham.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, so yes,
Okay.
very similar. So
So it's like the plumber, but he's not the mechanic, he's the plumber.
yeah, so he
I like
goes in.
this. I think you're
just,
onto something.
Yeah, so I'm a big bidet. Ever since I traveled overseas in 2008 and became acquainted with bidets, I'm a very big bidet person now. So I thought, and so many people in
awesome.
here are anti-bidet. I thought that would scare them. You know, sitting down on the toilet and being
right.
assassinated. Oh my gosh, that would just Americans would just like. I will never do bidets. I don't understand.
I mean I like a bidet, but I'm more I have these water wipes that I get from Amazon that
Yeah.
I find are pretty nice. But I don't think we should limit it to bidets though. I think I like this idea of like the plumber, and it's like the bidet is kind of the big fearful thing, but then there could be other toilet related assassinations.
Yeah,
urinal,
they put
shower
something.
heads.
Yeah, shower heads, toothbrushes that have been tainted
Yeah.
with some poison. Oh, it would be endless. Yeah.
I
So
think yeah, this is interesting. This is
yeah,
interesting. I
and
like
if
it.
we
I like
decided
it.
to make it a porn, I'm not sure we could use the number, but we could research it. 0069 would be the guy. Yes, he would be the assassin. So
Right.
yeah. So well, Tim, I appreciate you being on the show. I really did enjoy watching the movie, and I hope that for our
Thank you,
listeners,
thank you.
you all will give it a chance. It's on Tubi TV, which is TUBI. It's a free streaming service. I don't even think you have to give your email or anything.
You don't. Yeah, Tubi is so wonderful. It's an app. You just any smart TV usually has Tubi. You can get the app and then just search Manbaby and light a bowl and watch it, or get some popcorn, however you want to watch it. But yeah, free on Tubi with commercial breaks. And I'm so grateful that you watched it. So appreciative of your time.
It was like I
think.
say there were a couple of notes, what the fuck or what the actual fuck, because there were some things because like I say, most movies I'm like, okay, I know what they're doing. And so, but that's nice. I mean, the what the actual fuck is better than the duh, I knew that was going to happen. So
Yeah,
I did
yeah,
appreciate
exactly.
that. And,
Exactly.
and
Well,
like,
I mean, it's fantastic. It's
Yeah.
fantastic to hear.
so, but I do think that for our listeners, go out and check out Manbaby. It's on Tubi TV. The trailer, if you want to find the trailer, it is on YouTube out there. But I'm gonna say that the if you do watch the trailer and watch the movie, it is you'll be surprised at the differences in what you think the outcome, what you anticipate the outcome of the movie being after watching the trailer and then after watching the movie. I think everyone will be surprised because there was a difference.
One quick thing before
Yes,
we
sir.
go to Ro,
Yeah.
is that we love reviews. We love getting positive
Yes.
and negative feedback. It just helps the algorithm.
Right.
It's great when people are talking about it online. So anybody that's listening, if they do watch it and they say, "Why did I waste 90 minutes?" to go online and talk about it. Talk about
Be
why you didn't
honest
like
about it. Yeah. I mean,
if you loved it, do the same thing.
yeah. And I agree. So everyone out there, please do that. Go out and give a review of it. Like I say, like Tim said, give an honest review of it. And I will even say I would give it a day or two. Like I say, I think that my views have changed on the movie because there was a couple of I was still piecing it together the next day, which is not common for me. And so because of that, it took me a couple days to actually digest it and know. I mean, no, this is not $100 million budget that you worked with, and understand. Don't be one of those people that reviews something and then be like, "It was the best movie I ever saw, 3 stars." It's like I don't think those people know how the star rating system works. So, but go out there, like Tim says, like I say, watch the movie. Tim says, review the movie and do it. Give it an honest review. I think that everyone will be very surprised at the movie that they're watching. And I would like to also hear, because they can. I do love hearing from my listeners. I sometimes hear from you a little bit more than I need to. I'm just saying, after the last episode that one of my episodes that I did on time travel, I've received numerous pictures of me during different events throughout the history of time, which I think is very nice.
Wow.
But it is
Pretty
filling
cool.
my inbox. Yeah, it is cool. So we have some very creative people in this society.
Nice.
Go out and watch the movie. It was very fun. The end is not going to be what you expected. The couples that get together are not what you expect. There are going to be a lot of things that you don't expect, whether you watch the trailer or not. So I would suggest go out and take a gander of this movie. It's called Manbaby. It's on Tubi. Tim, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you, Ro. I love the show and I really appreciate it. And great talking to you.
Oh, thank you so much. And I hope to have you on a future episode too, because it sounds like there are other things that we could talk about, not just Manbaby. So, but like I say, it was a pleasure talking to you. For everyone else, thanks for listening to the show. We'll talk to y'all soon.